I know Saunders is starving as well. No fans fighting in leisure centres in front of 300 people. He needs to fight, and we all want that fight. Me more than anybody. Saunders is starving and I'm the food. Without me, he hasn't got anything. The only thing he has is a win over me. That's his entire career. And I need to right that wrong. Those are the words of Chris Eubank Jr. I'm now going to quote his dad, Chris Eubank Sr., the guy you all love to hate. Chris Eubank Sr. says, "We want to be back out as early as April. If we can make this fight with James DeGale, that we shall do. By April, we will be ready to go again. If he's not ready by April, don't worry, we will wait. We will give him a few more weeks, but there is no escape. We have been marinating him. I can smell it." Those are the words of Chris Eubank Sr. talking about a fight between his son and James DeGale. And obviously, the first quote was from Chris Eubank Jr. talking about a fight with Billy Joe Saunders, the guy who actually beat him. Now, obviously, a lot of people have got a lot of criticism about the Eubanks, but there's also a fair deal of criticism leveled at Billy Joe Saunders, because since he beat Andy Lee for the WBO middleweight world title, he's been very inactive. He's been seen looking totally out of shape. He had a very unimpressive performance in his first defense, and his first defense was an absolute age in the making. And I guess it may be down to Frank Warren's long and very close relationship with the WBO that Billy Joe Saunders wasn't stripped of that title before making that first defense, because it was a very, very long time before he defended it. And as far as I'm aware, don't quote me on this and don't take this as gospel, because I'm just going from memory here about something I read or heard recently. And that is that Billy Joe Saunders has been given either extra time to fight his next mandatory, or he's been given some type of exemption or something like that. So he may be fighting somebody else before he fights his next mandatory, as far as I'm aware. Again, that could be wrong. So if it is wrong, please correct me in the comment section below and leave links, so on and so forth. But yeah, so people have been criticizing Billy Joe's inactivity and his level of opposition and the way he's looked after winning the world title, fighting in front of very small crowds, leisure centers, just as Chris Eubank Jr. said. So does Chris Eubank Jr. have a point here that Billy Joe Saunders really has nowhere else to go other than fight Chris Eubank Jr. if he wants a big payday? Because there has been talk about Billy Joe fighting Canelo. There's been talk about him fighting Triple G. But will those fights actually materialize? That's the question that a lot of people are asking, because, as I say, Billy Joe's inactivity is definitely not helping him. He's a fighter similar to Tyson Fury who doesn't really live the life away from training camp. I don't think he's as bad as Tyson Fury when it comes to going off the rails in between fights. But still, we've seen him look very, very overweight in the past year. There are pictures that have emerged and what have you. So, you know, that inactivity is going to harm him. It's going to harm his skills. I think some people believe that that's what happened in his first defense, his last fight. And can Frank Warren, Frank Warren recently lost a purse bid for the Joseph Parker Hughie Fury fight. So with all this talk of this deal with BT, Box Nation BT, strengthening Frank Warren's position, has it really strengthened his position that much? Is he going to be able to get Billy Joe Saunders these big fights? Or is it a situation where Chris Eubank Jr. is actually correct and Billy Joe won't be able to get those big fights because Frank Warren won't be able to do those deals, and the only person he will be able to fight is Chris Eubank Jr.? And interestingly enough, when Frank Warren was interviewed, and this is a good sign, by the way, as far as I'm concerned, when Frank Warren was interviewed recently by IFL, I think it was his last interview on IFL, Coogan asked him whether he would consider allowing one of his fighters like Billy Joe Saunders to go and fight on ITV. And Frank Warren basically said, it's fine by me. As long as the deal's right, I'd actually let them go and fight on ITV or on a different station. And as much as I criticize Frank Warren, I like the fact that he's willing to let his fighters go fight elsewhere for the right deal. I do like that. I like the fact that he's not so stubborn that he's going to stop fighters going and taking fights on other stations. Now, we know that he has allowed his fighters to fight on Sky before, and we know the Hearns are his rivals, and vice versa. The Hearns have allowed their fighters, from what I can remember anyway, to go fight on Box Nation a few times. So the fact that he's saying that he'll allow Billy Joe potentially to go fight on ITV is definitely a good thing, because we know that he does not like the Eubanks, but it seems as though as much as he don't like them, he's not going to allow that to get in the way of business. So yeah, let me know what you think, people. A little bit of a convoluted video here, but the point I'm making is, or the question I'm asking you guys really is Chris Eubank Jr. right? Is he the only big fight out there for Billy Joe Saunders right now? The only realistic fight out there? Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. It's Hatman, I'm out.